We're talking about this consolidation in the travel industry accelerating this year. Expedia buying Orbitz and Travelocity. Is it good for consumers?
So I think typically what we see with consolidation is it tends to be great for profits and bottom lines and usually not as good for consumers. What we see is most consumers like to have choice and have options. Our whole business at Gogobot is built around helping people find stuff that's right for them, whether they're family travelers or business travelers. When consolidation happens, there's less options, there's less competition for pricing, and so it tends to be worse for consumers.
What do you think is happening in terms of people having their smartphones in their pocket and using their mobile phone to do more around them?
Well, I think the smartphone is radically changing people's behavior, not just in travel, but across the thing. I think people are suddenly getting used to the idea, and especially the millennial generation you see who've grown up with smartphones, are getting used to having information at their fingertips. We see with travel on Gogobot, people are planning ahead a lot less, and they're just using their phone to spontaneously find things to do. They don't feel like they need to book their hotels ahead of time. And so it's changing a lot people's behaviors, and the industry is really sort of pushing to try and keep and catch up with what people are doing on the consumer front.
Travis, you recently secured a large amount of funding from vacation rental site HomeAway. Tell me more about that partnership. What does it bring to Gogobot, and what kind of other partnerships are you looking to strike?
Yeah, so our HomeAway led a $20 million round in Gogobot this fall, and it's structured as a VC-type deal, so there aren't special preferences with it. But the idea was HomeAway is looking to expand beyond just rentals to thinking about travel holistically and covering the whole trip. And Gogobot really is a site that covers the whole cycle from where to eat, where to sleep, where to play when you're looking for fun. So there was a lot of natural synergy there. With that deal, in addition to sort of the investment, we're going to be powering a lot of that discovery on the HomeAway properties, both in their mobile application and on the web, to help people when they're using those sites not just look at, okay, where should I stay, but understand the whole context of the trip. So what am I going to do while I'm there? What are the best beaches? Where are the best places to eat? And those are the things that Gogobot does well. We'll bring that to their experience. It'll make their experience richer, and it will help more people discover Gogobot. So it's a really natural fit. And I think we're looking for all of the companies that are in the travel discovery space. We're having a lot of interesting discussions about that, particularly because of mobile and this idea that on mobile, if you don't build a habit around something, if you don't have a frequent use case, people might download an app and then they forget about it. Gogobot people use not just for traveling, but also when they're in their hometowns looking for what should I do this weekend or where should I go for dinner tonight. And it's that kind of sticky behavior that can bring these travel apps to life. And so a lot of conversations we're having are in that vein.
In terms of that, what do you think is happening in terms of Priceline making that acquisition of OpenTable and a lot more of the consolidation that's getting into online booking as well?
Well, I think that the OpenTable move by Priceline was a really interesting one because that's a great example of people starting to think in the travel space, thinking that, look, it's not just about selling hotels, which is where the biggest margins are. We actually have to think about what are consumers doing on their phone, what are the things they're doing more frequently, and how do we create a relationship with consumers that lasts. And so I think the aim of that acquisition was really about sort of covering this whole trip, having this sort of habits that people can use, and then they can use that to upsell for other products. And I think that's a space where we play very heavily in the mobile space, and I think a lot of companies are looking for ways to get into that space to make sure that they don't lose the consumer once they've downloaded that app.